Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to Expert Dojo Monday morning call. Today with not with Brian, but with Ash. Good to see you guys. Depends where you're watching us from. Today we have really exciting companies coming on the call, by the way. And you guys are well aware if you're watching us for the first time that we do this call every Monday, first thing in the morning, so that we get some inspiring story and cover them and then let the world inspired by our founder success story. Sometimes we invite our growth hackers, the brain trust on the call to learn from their experiences as well. And then we do this for the sake of learning specifically and to see how exactly a founder have struggled through the journey and to learn from them. That's it. That's the main objective of this call. Before we invite Carolyn on the stage, I'm just gonna give you guys a quick update about what's happening at Expertozo right now. So today you're not seeing Brian here because he's traveling to Miami for 2 days for like meeting with the family office and LPs and also meeting with other investors for the core investment opportunity. Me right now, actually, I came to India a couple of weeks back, like 2 3 weeks back, and then since then I'm going to city over city. Literally, I've been flying from my hometown to Delhi to Lucknow. Right now I'm in Jaipur. I came here to meet one of the fund manager here in Jaipur whom I met back in LA, by the way. So when he was in LA, he said like, hey, whenever you are in India, come to our place. I'll show you the city, but on top of that, we'll build this and strengthen our existing partnership. I came to visit him. Tomorrow I'm going to Bangalore to attend Bangalore Tech Summit. Then I'm going to Kerala to speak to one of the conference that government of Kerala is hosting. It's a Kerala Startup Mission event, and then I'm speaking there. I was speaking 2 days back in Delhi. So I'm like I'm all over here in India. Brian and our team in Expert Dose are all over the conferences and going to the events and making our domain dominance basically at different places. So that's what we do, like we quick updates. And so I met Pranay, who handles and who runs the real-time angel fund here in India, have more than 80 portfolio companies as well. So we were talking about like a couple like a lot of things. The one learning that I took out of that conversation, by the way, I just want to share out loud, and then I'll pull in without further ado, like our amazing founder who is here to talk about her journey, specifically building Humaxa. Um, so the thing we're talking about, like, hey, what is the one thing that a founder needs to know when they're pitching an investor? And we were like kind of like talking a lot of things. He said one really important thing which like kind of like immediately resonated with my thought process as well. He said like, you know what, a founder needs to know answer of all the probable questions that investor will ask up way ahead in the. I said like, hey, what do you mean when you say that? He said like, follow the prompt based response kind of thing. So if you're a founder, let's say, and you're pitching to an investor, consider some random idea. Let's say you're building a supply chain logistical optimization tech startup, right? And you're pitching to a startup with generalist, and they don't have any clue about the supply chain in general, right? So most of the time, either founders share their personal story, the pain point that they have felt to explain the product, and they ask the question, "Hey, have you ever felt this problem personally as well?" And the answer is no. Then what are you gonna do? You need to have a reply ready, something like, hey, may I ask you, why did you say like you have not been through that problem? Or if the answer is yes, then you automatically have another prompt ready to answer, to kind of like go that direction. So consider it as a flow chart conversation kind of thing. It's just like an, I really like what he said, and it could be great advice for a founder, by the way. So if investors say yes to your like problem statement, then go that route of the conversation. If say no, then have your prompt ready way ahead in the advance. That will help you to kind of like keep the conversation flowing in the direction that you want, and it's easy peasy, honestly speaking. If the investor will say no, they will still invest. How? They might not invest money on the equity basis, but they could be a potential customer as well. So maybe you can follow up with them after a couple of months down the line. Hey, I know you said no for the investment, but how about like this problem that you felt you have never used it, like the solution, here is the solution, could you be the customer? So that's a great way to get money from people who could be potential customer or potential investor. That's a kind of like a generic advice that I feel is really good story, and the thing that I really like today in the conversation. Before further ado, what I'm going to do, I'll pull up on the screen our amazing portfolio founder, Carolyn, and then I'll let her talk about the company, and then we'll dig deeper into her journey about like building, one of the amazing company that she's doing right now, and then we'll dig deeper in the conversation. Carolyn, how are you doing today?
Hello. I'm doing very well. How are you, Ash?
I'm doing well. Good to see you. Good to see the smiling faces of our founder all the time. Where are you
We have
calling
to
in
keep
from?
smiling, right?
There you go. There you go. I love the energy. Where are you calling in from right now?
Our company headquarters is in Cameron Park, California, which is about 30 minutes southeast of Sacramento.
Hmm. Amazing. And like we have been traveling, I've been saying the same story to the people who are watching the show that hey, I'm like going places in India, Brian is going places, and then we had to move back and forth and stuff. But hey, this is what it is. This is our life, and we have to accept it, and we have to keep smiling on the same at the same time, right?
Yes, and we have a team that is very internationally focused as well. One
Interesting.
of my co-founders is in San Diego, but one of them is located in Brazil.
Wow.
In South America, we have a gentleman who's working for us who's based in Africa, and another one who's based in Europe. So we're a very we when you said good morning, good afternoon, good evening, that's how we start
I
all
was
of our
addressing
meetings
your
because
team
it's
members, by
yeah.
the way. And also the thing is, the beauty of having a
Yes,
multi-time zone workspace is like your work will continue going on and on 24/7 technically without a stop, right? If you are not working,
we
someone
can
is
hand off. It's my time to go to sleep. Hand it off to the
hand
next
it off,
person.
hand it off. So that's why that's a great story here, and that's a great learning. Like build a team, like not kind of a micromanageable kind of a team. Build a leader so that
Hmm.
you can hand off
Hmm.
easily and you can sleep well. And at the same time, someone is like handling your set. Well,
Yeah, I'm
we
not
can
so
talk
sure
about
about the sleep well part, but yes,
yeah.
it's a
Hey,
good
like I'm
plan.
I'm in the same boat, so don't worry about it. I can like I'm like more these days like very red eye all the time, flying over the night, going to the different place again red eye. It's like okay,
Yep.
we'll keep talking about this stuff. But hey, thank you so much for agreeing being on the call. And then I don't know how much you are aware of this kind of like setup. The purpose of this call is to kind of inspire emerging entrepreneurs who are watching us from different parts of the world.
Sure.
It will be recorded. You can
Sure.
use it as content for your future reference as well at the same time. And also, there are a bunch of growth hackers, investors, advisors. They are like watching us from different places. Sometimes people watch real time. Sometimes they watch afterwards as well. So think about like your audience, investor, entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs, partners, advisors, and stuff like that, right? So that was the one thing. And then the purpose is like just to know about your journey as a founder, your struggle, your couple of giveaways that you can deliver to the community so that they cannot do the same mistakes what you have done, or maybe learn from your
Sure.
learnings as well at the same time. And also talk about a little bit
Sure.
about your fundraising so that if investor is watching, they can be aware of okay, what are our amazing portfolio founders are doing around the world, right? I was actually just
Yes.
met with one of our company here in India. So we have like our portfolio located in different cities all over. So wherever I go, I found the expertise of portfolio company. I met them. So I was on the dinner with them. Three co-founders that came and they were like doing amazing job as well. So this is what it is. Expertise has like 300 companies all over the world, and then I'd always love and get inspired by the amazing story. So without further ado, how about we do one thing, like quick intro about yourself. Just walk us through who you are, how you started, why did you think like you are the right person to start this company, the problem that you identify and solving. I'm well aware, but for the world, here you go. The stage is all
Of
yours.
course. Of course. Yes. So my background, my academic background is in cognitive neuroscience and instructional technology. And straight out of grad school, I went to go work for the US government. I developed training programs for people that were going into the military, um, actually to operate radar for or sonar for submarines,
Wow.
which, by the way, I knew nothing about. But I think it kind of prepared me for being thrown into the fire of startup world where you start out and you know nothing, and that's okay. I can remember taking home these enormous stacks of documentation and trying to pour through them and teach myself as quickly as I could about active sonar, passive sonar, how you can figure out what a submarine is doing based on just listening to sounds, like what classification, is it nuclear, all these things, and then developing programs that would train people who are just like me, who didn't know anything in the beginning, but when they're done can walk out and step onto a submarine and be able to do their job. And that kind of set me up for then working for a number of different startups. And then I was fortunate enough to be a part of one that uh, we actually were acquired for $350 million. And it was a really good experience. I wasn't one of the founders, but once that whole process was done, I told myself, I can do this, which
Uh-huh.
is not something that I had heard a lot. Most people, most people told me, look, you don't look like, a 22-year-old male who just dropped out of Harvard. It's like, that was the stereotypical. So, even
Hey, you
people
know
who
what?
really cared
One thing
about
I
me
really
told me
love,
that.
one thing I really love about it is like breaking the stereotype all the time, and that gives
Right,
us like an
right.
okay, I feel it,
Yes, yes.
Okay,
And I
keep going. I didn't want
listened.
to
I mean,
interrupt. Keep going. I love it.
but it's true. It's true. I listened to these people. I mean, these were not bad people. These were people who really cared about me. They just didn't want to set me up for failure.
Yeah.
But over time, I think there was a certain part where I got to, in my life, I said, this is it. I'm going for it. I don't care what anybody says. And I was very fortunate. I have two co-founders. One of them was in the middle of doing a PhD in AI machine learning. I pulled him. I said, "Don't you need some practical application for some of the work that you're doing?" And then our third founder, Jennifer, we all kind of put our heads together. And you talked about kind of the journey and figuring things out. And one of the things, if I could have told myself then what I know now, I would say, don't get married to one idea or one product. Try to experiment in the
Yeah.
beginning very
Absolutely.
broadly. And we did this, but I think we could have done it faster. I wish we had really done it, faster. So we did experimentation in HR compliance. We experimented with commercial construction. We experimented in legal tech. Um, and we just, would hack something together and try to see what kind of market was there for these things. And we ended up eventually landing in automotive technology. And it's actually not in vehicle technology, it's technology for automotive engineers. So the designers, the engineers who are designing either whole vehicles or piece or parts that go in the vehicle or systems, because as we know today, cars are essentially computers on wheels.
Right. 100%.
um, and we just listened really, really carefully to what their workflow was like. Where do they spend all this time? Where's valuable time and where is not valuable time?
Hmm.
And we looked at our AI platform and said, what data can we use to train our platform on that would take these mundane, rudimentary tasks and just eliminate them entirely from an engineering standpoint. And so, some of the things they would say with, okay, so we get a request for quote, and we have to go back through all these volumes and volumes of documents that we have of work that we've done before. But we also have to go through all the volumes from the manufacturer who's saying you have to comply with all of these standards. Oh, and then there's all these regulations, and they're international regulations. So,
Uh,
do you want to design this part to be compliant for Europe, Asia, US, the whole world? And there's upsides and downsides to all of this. So we took all that data, trained our platform on it so that these designers, these engineers can simply talk to our system and say, hey, I'm designing headlights for an automobile, and I need to know what angle to put them at so that I'm compliant with not just all the international regulations, but the standards and what we're being asked to do by the manufacture itself and have that done right away, not spending weeks and months trying to research all of these volumes of data to be able to do that. And honestly, I mean, data today is very commoditized, but being able to really listen to the daily workflow of these engineers and figuring how to use this incredible technology that has just leapfrogged ahead of everything else, and use AI to solve real problems. I think people are still figuring that out.
Yeah, no, totally. And you got such an amazing story. Like, I believe you have no background in automobile per se, right? Like,
Oh, one of
specifically.
our founders does, but not me. That's
Not
correct.
you,
Yeah.
right? Like, and then, but yeah, of course, like, and then, but you understand the market very well, and it came because of like you did all those A/B testing, black boxing, like all the stuff, like doing as you mentioned, like for HR, compliance, legal, and all the stuff. So founders who are watching, this is amazing kind of learning point, basically. So at Expertozo, you might have heard us, Brian, me talking about Horizon 1, Horizon 2, Horizon 3. And Horizon 1 is all about like first 3 4 years of the company when you are A/B testing all the new product until you hit the MF, like PMF, like the product market fit, right?
Right.
And I feel like
Right.
you guys are like done. Okay, I'm done. I'm like all the all the
We're never
said,
done,
but
but
now
yes.
specifically like you found the niche where you exactly know what to tap in, and this is a huge market. Like I believe I would love to talk about
Right.
your, of course, like who are you targeting as your customers and stuff like that, but I believe the market is so wide open. And then like, so as you mentioned, data is the new
Yes.
oil. Data is everywhere, chat GPT and all this stuff. But then like again, who checks the accuracy of the data? Like talking about the alignment factor, let's say I want to fix my headlight of
Hmm.
my car and I bought a headlight. How can I do it? If I can ask chat GPT, it's like a generic version of like 2021 or before, something like that. But
Right.
then if the alignment is not fitting in, it's wasting your time. And then I believe it's like waste of time for the mechanical, like the mechanics as well at the same time, right?
Right.
So it's a
Right.
great product, like, and you have like a whole blue ocean. I don't believe, like, who's your biggest competitor in this market, by the way, Carolyn?
It's funny. Honestly, the biggest competitor we have is people's own companies thinking that, oh, hey, maybe we can just throw something together and hack it together ourselves. We were
Yeah.
just a couple of days ago speaking with a major Japanese automotive manufacturer, and they went that route, and it's been 3 years and they still don't have a product that they use. And so they're talking about bringing us in, and they're trying to figure out how to navigate this awkward situation where they have an internal IT team who tried to hack something together, and it's just not that
So
easy.
what makes you unique is the data model that you train your entire engine on, right? Like the existing real
It's
time.
the data, and the so we once we decided we were going to go deep into the automotive industry, we recruited recently retired professionals from the automotive industry to join our advisory board. And
Wow.
they have this whole brain of knowledge that they've acquired over a whole lifetime
Mm.
that we use. And it's not public knowledge. Like, these are the things you learn in the trenches that are not out there for chat
They
GPT or
learn
any
by
other
doing it.
LLM
Yeah.
to consume. And so
Uh,
we took all that and we've been training our system on that, on top of, it's a whole nother validation layer that exists. And it's not just from one manufacturer, it's from many manufacturers. I think we have 5 or 6 different major manufacturers, advisors from those companies who were recently retired, and they're not ready to just, go fishing for the rest of their life and, lay out on a beach. They wanted to actually stay involved in the industry, but on a smaller scale. It's a perfect fit for us.
so they
That's
basically
one of the
wants to
major differentiators.
they basically
Hmm?
want to water the plant, the seed that you planted back in the days, right? As a
Yes,
big
yes.
advisor. So that's really good. So again, like, and how did you find these people, by the way? What was your strategies, basically? Like, again, I'm thinking out from a founder
Hmm.
perspective. If I'm starting out my own company and I want to get this
Right,
kind of experience, people who are retired, having years of experience, internal knowledge, internal information, who can help me out. So what's your advice
right.
for an emerging founder who are watching this show today? specifically talking about like building the team and then finding your co-founders, like a better
Sure.
hop or third hop and stuff like that, and having a amazing advisory board and stuff like that. So talk to me about a little bit about your team journey, your journey specifically. How did you find your co-founder? How do you find your advisor? And then like how do you continue build keeping up the pace with the relationship that you
Right.
are continuing right now?
Right. Well, I do feel like our team is one of our superpowers. And I mean, it maybe sounds like a cliche, but networking, and really, not just networking online, but networking in person. My CTO and co-founder, we met on a river. We were both in kayaks going down the river. In fact, there's a lot of kind of funny analogies we talk about where we got through bumpy waters, and it's just like a startup. But I mean, just constantly talking about what you're doing, in a very friendly and open way, and just getting to know people face to face, I think helps a lot. I mean, you can do some of that online too, of course.
Hmm.
Um, but and then once you have like your core team, then all of you can do that and expand out into the networking. Yeah, I can't tell you. I mean, it's a part of the grind is going out and just meeting as many people as you can. When I started this whole process, I probably had just a few hundred connections on LinkedIn, and I almost have 10,000 now. That's not by chance. It's going out and just when pavement, getting out and feet on the pavement, meeting as many people as you can. And
Yeah,
nine
takes
times
time.
out of 10, there's no connection. Like, you end up just being a friend, perhaps a call, a contact. But the 1 in 10, you really find somebody who you can help them, they can help you, and you end up having a very long-term, meaningful relationship. It's worth it, in my opinion.
Yeah. And it takes time basically to find your like a core team where you can vibe well, you can spend time beyond your office hour, and also during the office hour you're not feeling like bored while working with a
Right.
person that, like, the vibe is not matching. And that's a really important factor, by the way. Statistically speaking, like 68% of the companies fail because of not having a perfect fit, with the co-founder
Mm,
and stuff like that, right? So
yes.
it's a
Yeah,
big
it's
problem
true.
again. And, so it's really important to find your, spend more time, going, when you are dating each other, as a being finding as a co-founder, basically, go for the dinner, go for the drinks, go for the river kayaking and stuff, and then see if you're the right fit. Then only
Yeah.
kind of like, engage in a professional relationship, where, because it's a huge responsibility, and then multiply that relationship. Ask, then be more vocal, go out in the events, as you mentioned, Carolyn. So that's a
Right.
great
Right.
advice.
Yeah.
And then let's talk about a little bit about the product specifically. So I would
Mhm.
consider it's more like a chat GPT for automobile, but a better with a better data trained model and stuff like that. Does your model
That's
also?
how we started. That's how we started. We've actually, again, just because we've listened, like, I can't overemphasize how important it is to listen to your
Mhm.
clients and their actual day-to-day, what they're going through. So that's how we started, but we're adding more functionality, again, that's very specific to this niche. We just launched something called Spec to Spreadsheet. It's beyond just a conversation. It will actually take hundreds or thousands of um, regulations or specifications, go through and line by line pick out each point, put it into a spreadsheet for you, tell you who it should go to. Oh, this should go to your chief information security officer. This should go to your IT team. This should go to, it'll say who it should go to, and come up with a recommendation around what that person needs to actually do. So the person that's overseeing the process doesn't have to manually do that. We call that spec to spreadsheet. But
Wow,
it's not, in the traditional conversational, like chat GPT style, but that's where we started.
amazing.
Mhm.
So it's not prompt, but it's still like a prompt based kind of thing. That, hey, what do you need? Okay, this is something I need, and then the prompt get like reply back and stuff like that. Is it
It's
still
it's
like that?
it's I think you would say it's like an agent, like one
Yeah,
little piece of
yeah.
what an agent
Mhm.
would do. Like you're speaking
It's more like a
to an
human touch
intern.
agent, Yeah, I got you. It's more
Yeah, like,
like kind of
hey,
personal, personal.
don't go take all these specifications, parse them out one by one, what each point is, who it should go to, and what's your recommendation. And then it will just, a few seconds later,
Oh,
it'll have it for you. Yeah.
amazing. Yeah, that's the get. This is such a game changing, and as you mentioned, like there is no direct competition specifically per se, but automobile companies are like in a way a competitor. But I believe at some point they will give up, and they will kind of like keep you asking for, hey, where is the CEO? Carolyn, can you help, please? Your experience and stuff like that, specifically, right?
It's
Because they
true.
cannot do it,
It's just,
and
it's
then
very hard to do. Yeah.
it's
It's very hard
hard,
to,
and then you have
yeah.
the bandwidth, years of research that you did personally, like to kind of like get to a point where you exactly know what needs to be done. It's
Yeah.
like it will
Yeah.
take them another like years, but at the same time it will cost money as well, and it's better to kind of like
Yeah.
outsource this kind of thing when there's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
existing kind of like a bot or a platform built in.
And
But
you can be up
I'm
and running in a day, versus a year.
It's not just
Right.
optimizing cost, but optimizing time, optimizing efforts, optimizing hiring, pretty much like the big pain
Mhm.
points.
Mhm.
And you never know the person you're gonna hire gonna build the stuff that you wanted, right?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
this is the
Right.
crazy thing, like being a company who are exploring this opportunity right now. Um,
Yeah.
Curious mind is asking one quick question: does your like a bot also like the thing helps with having a video kind of tutorial or anything, like let's say graphics as well? Hey, these are the things, of course, align this stuff accordingly and stuff like that, or it's just all text?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So, we have I'll say it's a simplified version of that, where, for example, you have a schematic diagram,
Mm,
and it will convert that schematic diagram into text. And then from that text, you can ask, like, how many centimeters away from the midline does the headlight need to be, or something like that. And it will tell you because it has the schematic diagram, and that
see.
diagram's been converted to text. But what we'd like to do on our roadmap is have it not have to do that conversion, but literally just, you know, this multimodal AI can, I think, or will be able to do that, where it will just look at that and be able to interpret without having to go through text. As we know, LLM started primarily with text,
Exactly.
and the things like even math. I mean, they're getting better now, but originally they weren't very good at math. They weren't very good at interpreting images. They could generate images pretty
Absolutely.
well, but interpreting images is it's a whole nother level up. But
Mm.
yeah, it's on our
And
roadmaps.
so, like, I can't imagine, like, I'm just thinking out loud, like, literally, like, out of blue, like, um, that's the stuff is there, the pictorial representation stuff. But imagine, like, if I'm a mechanical engineer, I'm fixing the headlight of whatever the car or bike, doesn't matter. And then
Yeah.
I have my AirPod on, and I would like just give a prompt based, hey, I'm fixing my headlight. Can you help
Hmm.
me?
Hmm.
And then you're getting a chatbot replying and talking to you. Okay, 1 meter, 1 centimeter away from the kid. Now do this. Now do that. I keep asking questions. I'm
Right.
getting hit. So
Put
maybe
it there.
audio.
You got it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
could be the like the part of the
Yeah.
product map. Yeah, this is a game changing thing.
I
Honestly,
really
like
feel like everybody's job, I mean, everybody's job is going to change a
yeah,
thousand percent in the next, 10
totally.
years or 5 years. And, we just pick one little niche where we're looking at what these jobs look like. But,
Yes.
it's a wide ocean out there. All these
Interesting.
other niches, I hope people are innovating there too, because
No, honestly,
this
and
technology will change
that's a
everything.
great,
Yeah.
again, like recommendation for the founders, like people when they start the company, because I've been a founder before, so I know the pain of being
Yeah.
a founder, right? And most of the time being entrepreneur, being a founder, when you like bombarded or like popped up with an idea that you're going to execute, you are blind, you don't know which direction
Yeah.
you should go to. And then we being an entrepreneur, we get lost into having like multiple functionalities, a lot of stuff, we're going to own the world. That's not how things work. You need to find a niche and then be the
Yeah.
king or the queen of that specific niche, that hey,
Right.
whoever
And
you like,
then you
it's
can
like,
expand from there. Yeah.
then you can
Yeah.
expand from there gradually. It's like a diamond when they launched in, let's say, back in the days. Then nobody actually knew about diamond. There was just one company. So instead of they being selling diamonds out there on the advertisement and billboards, They were just educating people, hey, just go buy diamond, these are the benefits of diamond. And they knew that customer who are going to buy diamond come to them, because there was this one
Hmm.
player,
Hmm.
right? So I think
Right.
that strategy that people, if you can find after having a niche, I think that's an amazing way to kind of execute things, you know. So this is cool. Talk to us. First of all, Carolyn, the more we talk about the product, I'm falling in love with your your entire more and more and more. And then you exactly build a lovable product that Brian and we keep talking about. Like, it's not an MVP; it's like a lovable product. The customer loves it. People who are gonna
Right. Right.
use it, they're gonna love it, right? So that's amazing. We're gonna talk about a little bit about the fundraising in a bit, but before that,
Sure.
you know, sorry if I'm getting stuck. I'm like, as I mentioned, I'm traveling, so bear with my network. Can you hear me,
You're
okay,
fine.
Carolyn?
I think you're fine. No.
Cool.
Yep. No problem.
Okay, cool. So we'll talk about the fundraising in a bit, in a few minutes from now. So again, curious mind is asking second question, which is like just popped up in my head again. This is like such a great thing that even a student who are studying mechanical engineering and stuff and doing some, I remember, even though I studied in my undergrad computer science, but in the first year what happens is you need to study all the engineering stuff in general. So I remember the first day of my engineering drawing classes, and engineering drawing classes was all about like having a big scale and do this stuff, and it was like, I was like, it was just bombarding out of my head. Like, I was not understanding a basic thing, because I was mechanical was not something part of my thing. But then I think,
Right.
like people who are studying mechanical engineering and electronics and stuff like that as well, it could be benefit for them as well, being
Hmm.
a student, if you can get
Hmm.
kind of like provide your stuff for the universities as well. What are the customer that you are
Hmm.
targeting? Like, do you have any plan in the roadmap to also kind of like going a little bit niche in the like building customers way before they go to the real world out there, let's say training a student kind of like with your model and stuff
Hmm.
like that? Or how's your like, how you're hitting the GTM, like the market, and how you're finding the customers, and what's your
Right.
thought about like
Right.
having an education aspect of it as well?
Right. Well, one of the big debates we've been having right now is, how far vertical do we go? Or, at some point, do we go? Because we do get inquiries. We had uh, a test, a testing company uh, contact us the other day, and they wanted to be able to use our platform for testing, like analyzing testing and how that relates to regulations and requirements. It's not something we've ever done. Uh, and our philosophy is always, go for the fast moving water. If this is
Mhm.
something that not just one person wants, but 20 people want, and we can test that, then we'll try that. That's a good experiment to go after. So when you're talking about, like, students in engineering or something like that, like, if that turns out to be fast moving water,
Yeah.
we kind of let the market pull
Mhm.
us in the direction that it needs to go, because we're still a very small team, and we like to say we can do anything, but we can't do everything. So we've got to pick and choose where the fast moving water is. And I do think there's a lot of applications for something like this, both vertical and
And
horizontal,
horizontal.
going into adjacencies. But we've got to be very careful, just because of resources, where we want to make sure we're going to the fast moving water.
And again, now I'm revealing the fact why I asked this question in a very different way, and you hit the nail exactly. Like, this is something that being a founder, you need to kind of like finding thing. Okay, whether you're gonna go this direction, or you need to know where you are moving. Right, that's very
Yes.
important factor. And also bandwidth is
Yes.
another big problem. Just don't do everything. What you mentioned, do the thing that is right for the company, and you are finding the
Right.
way it's flowing. Right, so
Right.
amazing. I appreciate it that you found the exactly the problem thing, and then you hit the nail. So we said it. Talk to me about it. Talk to us a little bit. Who is the people who are watching, for them, about a little bit about your fundraising, journey so far. How much you
Sure.
raised until today, and
Mhm.
what's your fundraising plan going forward, and then at what stage you are at right now.
Sure. So we've raised about $350,000, which, based on where we are, I feel like there's a lot more companies that have raised a lot more than us. Who where there? I mean, there's companies who raise millions that don't even have a product yet too, but that's not really that's not really what I'm talking about. But it seems like we've been able to do a lot with a little, in my humble opinion. um, and it's I mean, there's no way around it. Fundraising is incredibly hard. It's a lot of, I hope someone will someday solve this problem, because there is so much time spent talking with with investors, just trying to figure out, is there a match, is there a fit here,
Yeah.
and trying to do that as fast as possible is tricky, because a lot of it is, especially in the early stages, the signals are very tiny. Later on, when you're raising an A, B, C, etc., the signals are more obvious, and it's, I think, easier for both parties to figure out if there's a match or not. But early on, it is very, very, very
Right.
tough.
And it's not
Um,
it's equally tough for the investor to also find the right
it
fit.
is. There's signals are tiny. Like, does this mean that there's the glimmer of product market fit? I mean, how do you know that? It's very hard for
Yeah.
both. Yeah.
It's the entire, gray area where everyone is playing
Yeah.
in a way.
Yeah.
But that's a good point. But are you currently raising any round, or what's your fundraising?
Our our plan. So we're planning to hit, we're 1.2 next year in 2025, and as soon as we hit that, we'll open the floodgates. I don't know. We'll open the gates, and start our next fundraiser round.
That's amazing. I know, that's cool. So investor who are watching, just see the growth rate that the company is like kind of like going to analyze in next couple of quarters or months down the line.
Hmm.
If
Hmm.
anyone want to connect with Carolyn, just reach out to us. And our portfolio team will be happy to kind of like throw the intros as well. So
Thank you.
Carolyn, again, we talked about the fundraising, your product, your stuff, and then what's the future plan looks like for the company, where you see the company growing going forward, like let's say in 5 years down the line. I know it's not an interview question, but then being a founder, what you're saying, where the company is going in the future.
Yeah. Well, I think it all comes back to sort of what I was talking about earlier, where the way that people work today in all industries is going to change so dramatically. We want to be that company in this particular sector, in the automotive sector. So, at some point, not too far away, you're going to turn to your AI coworker and say, "Hey, can you do this for me? Can you do this? And I need this, 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 and this." We want to be that entity. Whether it's on a computer, or it's a physical thing, or maybe software that we've written that's in a physical thing that somebody else built. We want to be that for this industry, and the gap seems really far, but it's getting shorter, faster. I have
Mhm.
no question that in 5 or 10 years, that we're going to work side by side with our AI partners, and so long as we keep our ethics, in check, and even us, we keep humans in the loop always,
Right.
and make sure that we're doing it in a productive and safe, productive way. It's coming, whether we that genie is out of the bottle.
Well, I totally agree. I remember my childhood days when I used to watch sci-fi movies, all this fancy advanced robots and stuff. Today, look at us. Like we are seeing
Yeah.
it's all have already happening, right? The flying cars.
Yeah.
You talk about the set, like so. There was like a famous analogy that we have seen, like anything that was sci-fi back in days, it's reality today. So anything that is
Yeah.
sci-fi today, it feels like it's not happening. Come on, it's coming.
It's happening, no question.
Right,
Yes,
right.
yes,
So
yes,
no,
and we want to
so
be at the forefront of that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's your thought in general about AI? Like, I know you are very bullish about it. It's sit side by side. Where do you see
Uh-huh.
like how exactly it's gonna impact the world in general? I'm asking.
I think AI has, I mean, it's like any really, really powerful technology. There's an amazing opportunity to improve our lives, to improve the world. I have a friend of mine who started a company that uses AI to prevent uh, human trafficking, just
Wow.
by like monitoring conversations and being able to figure out who are these people who are grooming kids to be trafficked later. I mean, really amazing things.
Big
But it's
problem.
a powerful technology. It can
Yeah.
do amazingly bad things too. And
Mm.
that's part of why having humans in the loop is so
Yeah.
important and why we do it too. I
Mm.
mean, part of that whole board of advisors that we have, okay, it's a different, you know, I mean, I don't see cars, taking over the world, but
Yeah.
it's part of the reason that we have humans in the loop is to, bring this sort of, algorithmic morality to the world. And I do think that will be a part of the future as well. So it's, like any really powerful technology, we have amazing opportunities. It can be, I mean, we can cure cancer. We can stop kids from being trafficked. I mean, there's so many good things we can do, but there's also really bad things that can happen too. And we have to be
It
aware of
just,
that and keeping
yeah,
our human, our
intelligence.
humanity
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
in the loop, I think is incredibly important because we know right from wrong.
Right, right, right. No, I totally agree. Like it's not going anywhere. Like I would have never imagined that today sitting on this call we're gonna talk. So people from the future who's watching, it's 2024. You know, what date is it is today? 18th of November. We are talking about human and AI gonna sit side by side. If you're seeing it from 2050, look at us. We are talking about it's coming.
Right,
So we're gonna be the
right,
people. And
exactly.
even imagine that we're gonna talk about like AI sitting side by side, robot doing stuff, that human have
Mhm.
never imagined, and it's more productive. So honestly, it's for the betterment of the humanity in a way if you use it right, ethically and all
Sure.
stuff. So amazing.
Yes,
Thank you,
absolutely.
Caroline. Like such an amazing insight. You have an amazing journey that you have like kind of like experienced so far. And I wish you
Well,
all the
thank you.
best for the future endeavors. I know you're gonna sign going forward as well. Expertise is always there for you to. What's your two piece of advice if I have to ask you that you wanna give away today for the emerging founders who are watching this show and who wanna be an amazing founders like yourself?
Okay, so one I've talked about is what don't marry an idea or a product early on. Be open to listening to your potential clients and going in different directions and doing a ton of experimentation. That's one thing I feel like we could have done a better job is
Mm.
we did do that, but we didn't do it fast enough, I think. The other thing is you've got to be you've got to have armor that's this thick all the way around you. You have to be tenacious. I mean, almost stubborn, to the point of pathological stubbornness. I've been told that before, and I don't think they're wrong. In a way that most people will never be understand or be able to comprehend, and that's just what it takes. It's just
Yeah.
a fact. Yeah.
So it's basically the consistency being the founder is very much needed, and being patient, consistent with patience, right? Like have patience in life in general while you are building and testing your, like finding your product market fit specifically. And I believe, like, I agree with you. It's not the pivoting. Like pivoting is a wrong word to say. It's more like, kind of like improving the existing model and make it better day by day based on the customer needs and stuff like that, right?
And
Pivoting,
constantly experimenting.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
constantly experimenting with patience in mind and being consistent throughout the journey.
Yes.
Okay, such an
Yes.
amazing advice. This is the reason why we do this Monday call, because we
Oh,
learn from
good.
our founders, and our founders who is watching, people who are watching, they are learning from this. I know it was very
Wonderful.
conversational, nothing scripted. It's all out of blue.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Carolyn, again, thank you for coming over for the show. Really appreciate it, and we wish you all the best for your success. And
Thank
then
you,
I
Ash.
hope this is the next unicorn that I'm talking to today.
Very good. We'll be
All right,
there.
take care, people. Gonna come back again next week, same time, 8 a.m. Pacific time, and then with a new story. Again, new inspirational story. See you guys.